Hi everyone, I'm Joe Appello. Welcome to All Sports Talk with Joe and George. George Connor is somewhere in Tennessee doing some golf stuff. To my left is Alex Dunleavy. He's one of my best friend's son. He's filling in for George today. Alex, how you doing?
How's it going, guys? Happy to be here. Good to see you, Joe.
Your debut. Where are you from, Alex?
So I'm from Kent, Connecticut.
Kent.
So Litchfield County.
Okay.
Grew up there. Went to Housatonic in Falls Village.
Okay.
UConn alum. And I'm definitely happy to be on the show with you.
You played basketball in high school, right?
Played basketball all 4 years. Did baseball 4 years, and did cross country in the fall, kind of just to get in shape for basketball.
Okay. Funny stories. Your dad and I played high school basketball together. Did you ever tell the story? He used to run the practice. Did you ever tell you the story?
Yep.
So he used to run the practice. So Coach Herrick got all mad at him and said, next time you run the practice, I'm going to suspend you. He's like, Coach, line me up against anybody on this team and I'll beat them in the sprint. And then he finally laid off him. I was like, this guy's running to practice and running circles around everybody. It was the funniest thing I ever heard. And he laid off him after that. But Dave was good. Dave was a good high school player. He should throw up bombs from three. Anyway, all right, now my Yankees are done. Totally depressed.
I know.
Very bad outing against the Red Sox. I thought that it was set up that they could win that game with they got to number one, Garrett Cole on the mound. Basically, you only needed 4-5 innings from him at the most because you got your bullpens all ready to go. The Yankee bullpen is phenomenal, and they added Severino, Herman. There's a couple more pieces. They got Loanzaga's been pitching great. They've got Chad Green is kind of up and down though. He was kind of wasn't his usual self this year. But you get 3, 4, 5 out of your starter, and then you piece together the rest of the way with the bullpen. And that was their game plan. But I thought Boone, he had a pretty quick hook, but he almost kind of had to have a quick hook in that situation. I thought that they were going to hit Evaldi. I thought they were going to rack him. But because Sal had pitched 2 days before, so he wasn't available to pitch for them. But what do you think about the way the Yankees approached the game? They didn't seem like they were.
Yeah, I don't know. They just weren't hitting. You know, Evaldi was coming right at him. He wasn't walking him. He was throwing it right down the middle. He was throwing heat. I got to give him credit. I mean, he looked phenomenal on the mound. But yeah, I mean, there was only a couple hits. There was a Stanton double. There was opposite field home run by him. A couple, like maybe 1 or 2 other hits.
Torres had a blue single.
Yeah, but I mean, they really weren't hitting him.
Well, one thing is that the Yankees didn't walk one time, and that's usually one of their strengths. They have good pitch selection. They have like the 3rd lowest swing rate, swing and miss rate in Major League Baseball, and they usually have a good eye. They usually work some walks. Nobody walks from the Yankees, and the Yankees conversely walk 7 guys. So you thought it's like 7 singles or whatever, and that was huge. 7 more base runners. And one thing the Yankees never did all year long that drove me crazy, they never moved the line. So always looking for the big bomb. Is it a bomb or a strikeout? Or a double play, it seemed like. And I don't understand. I played baseball a long time, a lot of baseball, and I coached and whatnot. How do you not make adjustments at the plate to what the pitcher's doing to you? They were swinging the same way, the same time, no matter what the count is.
Digging in.
And they swing from the heels, and you're like, oh, great cut, and they're off balance, this and that, and I don't understand the philosophy. The guy that does not do that is Rizzo. Rizzo crowds the plate though, which is kind of unique. But if he has 2 strikes on him, he'll choke up a little and he'll go to left field. He'll take the ball the opposite way. And then with these shifts nowadays, hit it away from the shift. I mean, if you're a left-handed batter and they got 3 guys on the right side, open up toward the pitcher and just go that way. As he throws you outside pitch, take it to left field. Or, once in a while bunt. Now, how can you not be able to bunt?
I don't know. I mean, it's basic baseball.
From the time I was playing baseball, when you had batting practice, you always bunted. I mean, you bunt down first, you bunt down third, you sacrifice bunt, maybe do a suicide. Then you have your BP. Do it every day, even 4 bunts a day. And nobody could bunt the ball. And it's kind of like a lost art. It's kind of like out of today's power game. But so that was interesting. Like last night, in that Dodger and Cardinal game, Max Scherzer got up, and he was in a bunt situation, and he was 0 for 39 in bunt in bunt situations or something. And he got one down with 2 strikes, 3-1 count. He actually bunted the ball and moved the runner up. That didn't score anyway, but yeah. So that was it was a heartbreaking game. And the thing that drives me nuts about the Yankees, as we talked before, is that they don't seem to have any life.
I know. They're dead out there.
It's like, okay. And right here, biggest game of the year, get excited, yell, scream. It's okay. You see the Tampa Bay Rays do it all the time. Red Sox, not as much, but to a pretty good extent. Watched the Cardinals and Dodgers last night. They were going crazy in the dugout every time. There just doesn't seem anybody has any, like almost like they're afraid to have a good time. I guess what it is. Maybe it's the Yankee way. And like I said before, the dumbest quote, one of the dumbest quotes I ever heard was Boone after the game. He says, "The league has closed the gap on us." Well, it's not like you won the last 3 World Series. What do you mean close the gap on you? You haven't been to the World Series since 2009. I mean, what gap are you talking about? It's the other way around.
I don't know. I mean, the Rays have been consistently good over the past few years. The Astros have been good. Red Sox, hit or miss recently. But yeah, like you said, I mean, it's not like the Yankees are up here and the rest of the league or even the American League is so much different.
I think that's part of the problem. They think they're so superior to everybody for some reason, and they're not. And the other thing, too, is you've got a team like the Tampa Bay Rays, Devil Rays, their total team salary is like $60 million.
I know, it's low.
You got Stan and Cole making that combined. So as a teammate, prospective teammate, how do you say, okay, you and I make more than everyone else combined, but we're pretty good, but we're not like unbelievable. I don't think any athlete's worth $30 million a year. I just don't, no matter what.
It's too much money.
It's too much money. It's not perspective. And then how do you manage that as a manager when you're telling a guy what to do, or the fate is in your hands? He's making 15, 20, 30, 40 times what you're making.
I know.
Old story years ago when U.B. Brown was coaching the Knicks. I went to a clinic one time and I saw him. And he goes, well, I had to practice Saturday morning. And he goes, and 3 guys showed up. And he goes, so what do I do? He goes, I find them, $1,000 each, whatever. And they're like, okay, you want it now or you want to wait in their pocket and give it to you? The coach is making, he's making $500,000 a year, and all these guys are making 10, 20 million a year. So you're like, screw it, I'm not going to go to practice. I'm sleeping. Here's worth $1,000, you know. And that was a pretty good perspective of how you manage these guys. It's got to be difficult today's pro sports, how to manage other professionals. Then you have all the all the contracts and stipulations in the contracts that we don't really know about. That's got to be problematic with the way they handle their players. I mean, you can't be critical of a guy. Come back to you, but you can't be too easy, which I think Boone is a team guy all the way. He never said negative, So it's, we got to do better. We got to do this. Got to do that, and you don't do better. I don't have the answer. I think maybe Yankees told him just be easy on him. No controversy. So that aspect of it's a tough one. You got guys like Dusty Baker has been around. Dusty Baker, Houston plays the White Sox, and at the combined age of the 2 managers, like 150.
Yeah,
because LaRusso's 79, and so Dusty's 72, 73.
Yeah, they're up there.
So I think that's hilarious.
Yeah, they've been around forever.
Yeah. What do you think the Yankees need to do to fix their situation?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, they have pitching. They have a strong bullpen. I think Garrett Cole, I mean, he had a kind of hit or miss year this year, obviously pretty disastrous in this wild card game. I think he'll be better his sophomore year. I think a lot of pitchers are. But yeah, like kind of we were talking about before with Aaron Boone, I mean, a change of leadership could be good potentially.
Let's go with what you said. I think you made a great point because pitching is solid, in my opinion. You got Cole. Cortez has emerged as a reliable left-handed starter for at least 5 innings. You got Jameson Taillon. You've got Montgomery. I think Montgomery's a good 3 or 4 starter. Got Kluber, who if he has his stuff and his ball's moving, former Cy Young winner twice.
Yeah.
You don't know what he's going to do, though. I think he might be a free agent. At those guys, and you got Severino's back. He looked good in the postseason, and you got Herman. So you've got 6 or 7 potential starters right there. And then your bullpen, you got Green, who'll be back, Loanzaga, who's been phenomenal. Alex Abreu, who looks like another Loanzaga, really, miniature one. And you got Peralta, and Michael King looked good. And his ball moves like crazy all the time.
Yeah, it's wild.
Crazy. Guy drives me nuts is Chapman. Oh my God! Whenever he comes in, I'm like, here we go.
Yeah, you never know what you're gonna get.
You don't know. I mean, you can't hold runners on.
Yeah.
But lately, he's been pitching pretty well. He's been pitching a lot better. But just throw a ball, 50 feet over the catcher's head, or throwing 101 mile an hour fastball down the middle.
Yeah, he's wild.
Just don't know.
Keep the batters on the toes, that's for sure.
You kind of got. I said on this show actually a year ago or so, I said I would make him a starter. You're paying him what, 10 or 18 million a year for anything here and there. Make him a starter. And have him pitch 4 or 5 innings. I think a closer is overrated. Your closer is one thing, but the thing is, how many times you actually had, and they got to come in, get you 3 outs at the bottom of the ninth or the top of the ninth.
Not often at all.
Not often, yeah. And then nowadays you see Major League Baseball going and bring a closer in at certain times, depending on where they are in the lineup. The other team is in the lineup. If they're, your top of the order coming up in the 7th inning, you might have a closer coming down to get through that. Then you've got 4, 5, 6, and then 7, 8, 9. In the late range, you can bring somebody else, a lesser guy in. But Chapman he's just like a heart attack waiting to happen.
I know.
Every time he walks in, I'm like, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
And he's got that anyway. So I think the pitching is pretty solid.
Agreed.
What do you think they should do personnel-wise as far as the rest of the position? Let's go position by position. Catcher.
I mean, I don't know. Sanchez, so, he can be, again, hit or miss as a hitter. I don't really know what they need to do on that end.
But the funny part about that is that between Higgy and Sanchez, I think they might have led the league in catcher home runs. Combined 2 of them, I think they might have 30, 35, although Zunino had a lot. But anyway, that's, I would scrap Sanchez. I think he looks overweight to me. He's lethargic. He has no life in him. Lazy as all get-go. And they have their catchers catching on one knee, which with runners on base, I don't understand that. I was a catcher for 20 years, and one knee's one thing with no one on base, but when you have a runner on base, you can't move laterally, or even get up quick to catch a ball that's not on the plate. And they never changed that. And Sanchez would have a pass ball. Yep. Got to go get the ball.
Yeah. No,
doesn't hustle. Oh my God. And they have a catcher in the minors called, I think his name is Austin Wells. He drafted a few years ago. Bring him up. What do you got to lose? Good young stud catcher, probably with some power. He'll be alive back there. Higgy's not bad, but Higgy's a backup, in my opinion. I don't think he could sustain any kind of 160 game schedule or any kind of long game schedule. Once every 4 days, 5 days to catch. Good defensively, a little pop once in a while. But they got Rob Brantley, who's 100 years old too. He's fine. They've got to get a catching situated right there, I think. All right, let's go to first base. What do you think?
I mean, position-wise, we can go around the horn, but I just think overall, I think we just need hitters that aren't bomb hitters. We get a personnel change with Aaron Boone at leadership, and then we can get people like you said that can be, can we get that single, early in the inning to get somebody on? Can we get somebody who can? We talk about all these teams that are analytics. You look at, the Rays, for instance. You got, people that can get on base and, just overall with the Yankees, it's like if they're hitting, they're unstoppable. Their offense can be phenomenal.
Yeah.
But a perfect example was this last game. They went in right hit them in the teeth, and they weren't walking them. They were making them, hit, and it was just it was tough as a fan to see. It was almost like every other inning, if not a vast majority of the inning, it was like 1, 2, 3, out.
Yep.
And then it just didn't inspire confidence, because I'm like, okay, either they're going to be hitting these bombs, and they're probably going to be solo bombs most of the time, because they're not getting guys on base.
Yep. And in today's game, you look at now, as far as the pitchers go, if you get the other pitcher to throw 80 to 100 pitches, he's going to be out of the game. He's going to be out of the game. So the idea is to make him work on the mound. You get a guy who throws 20 pitches an inning, 5 innings, you got 100 pitches already, and he's done. They don't go much more beyond 100 every once in a while, but you've got to make him work and get to the other team's bullpen. If the other team's bullpen is not as strong as maybe the Yankees or the Rays, but so I think that's one issue, that they don't move the line. Well, they're the Bombers, the Bronx Bombers. And that's
exactly.
like what they do, So, but in today's culture, I mean, if you're hitting home runs, you're gonna stomp somebody. But if not, you're gonna lose 6-2.
Exactly. Exactly.
So, well, as far as going on the infield, I think I love Anthony Russo. I love that guy. He's phenomenal defensively at first base, especially compared to Voit. Oh my God! And great guy, great clubhouse guy, great leader. He's 33 though, so I would try to sign him for 2 to 3 years. Give him, $25 million a year, whatever it takes. I'm not sure what the market is nowadays, but rumor has it you might want to go back to Chicago, which doesn't make any sense either to go back to where you. But I love having keep him. I would let go of Voit. Voit just gets hurt too much, in my opinion. I mean, he bombs once in a while, but I mean, just if you can't stay in the field, what good are you? I never understood that philosophy in all sports. The guy's constantly hurt, then move on. I mean, you can't rely on him. Then you got guys like Jeter and that never miss a game, Cal Ripken,
exactly.
and the Warriors, and that's so important to me. And it sets a precedent in your clubhouse that you play. You come here to play. And Boone just drive me nuts. Give guys a day. There's no other team in the major leagues that give guys more days off than the Yankees. For what reason, I have no idea. There was one point, I forget when, Stanton was on fire. He gets him a day. So now you cool him off, and he comes back again. Now he has to get going again. And Boone never stayed with the same batting order. I'm a big proponent of batting order. It's so important. You got to have certain. Nowadays they put guys in lead off, hoping that they get the extra bat in the ninth inning, which I can kind of understand. But it goes away from the old days where you have a little, base runner and the left-handed batter batting 2, and it's still that's gone away from that. But I have no problem with that. Second base, what do you think about Torres? You like him or no?
I mean, he can be all right too. I mean, I don't think I think the biggest thing for us is just getting back. And this could be, you could keep some of these players and just have a change in leadership to have the focus change too.
Actually, a little wishy-washy on these players. You gotta say yes or no. But with Torres, he's better at second base for sure than shortstop. I think mentally, I think that helped him too. He's okay. I think he's maybe average, a little above average as a second baseman. The big thing is shortstop. They got to get a shortstop. I love Velasquez, but I don't think he hits enough. Defensively, he's fantastic. But with shortstop, you got 4 or 5 free agent shortstops coming out. Now, who would you take among the shortstops coming out? You got Correa, Kyle Seager from Dodgers, Trevor Story, I think, is available. Those are 3 guys come to mind as free agent shortstops. I don't think Correa goes back to the Astros.
What are they batting? Off top hand?
Well, Trevor Story's a big power hitter, but again, he plays in Colorado, so it's hard to quantify. How it would be in other parks. Correa's about 260, 270. With about 30 home runs, about 90 RBIs. That's the guy I would go after.
Yeah, I think so, because Story, like you said, home run hitter,
Yep.
It's something that we don't really need right now.
Yep.
I'd rather looking for somebody that, can get on base,
Yep.
that can hit, because
Yep.
obviously that's not, pitching and like slugging aren't really our areas of needs right now.
Right. It's funny in the major leagues, and third base, I love Urshela, great defensively, but he hits okay. But nowadays, your third baseman usually hit 25 to 35 home runs. Yeah, and I don't think you're going to get that out of him. You might get 15 out of him. 70 RBIs, 260, 270, which is again okay. But your first baseman and third baseman should hit between 25 to 35 home runs, and the corner outfielder is also the same thing. And you look around the majors, that's what you got at most other teams. You got those corner guys hitting a lot of power, and if you don't have that, you got to make up in other areas. In the outfield, obviously you got Judge Wright forever and ever.
Yeah, he's not going anywhere.
He's not going anywhere.
He's the face of the Yankees.
Yeah, he'll be Yankee captain. Then you got Stanton. You locked in with him for 10 years.
I like him.
Yep. And I liked him playing the outfield, though. I thought he played better when he played the outfield. Or he hit the ball better. And then you got Hicks coming back in center field. Again, another guy's been hurt a lot. If he stays healthy, it's a big asset for them, I think. Because, you switch hits, you can run the base a little bit, great defensively, can hit. So if you got this Greg Allen, who for the minors was good when he played a little bit. Got Esteban Florio, who's in the minors, 6'3", 180, 190 pounds, center fielder that can fly. He's another possibility. Then you've got now you like Odor, Gallo, Voit, Sanchez. What do you do with all those guys? Do you let them all go? It's tough, and you still have DJ. What do you do with DJ if you put Urshela at short, at third? Where does he play? You got Torres at second, and you got Rizzo at first. And what do you do with DJ? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's too much.
That's the other thing. You can rotate your DHs if you have Stanton play the outfield.
Exactly.
You do that, but I think that's going to be a big decision on their part as far as what to do with DJ. I think he's best at second base. I like him at second or third. But the question is, if they decide Rizzo, then it'll snowball everything else. Everything else will play off that. But they're not that far away.
They're close. I mean, they're right there. They have a lot of the pieces that they need.
Yep. I would not sign Gallo, though. I mean, I like the guy, but you can't win games bad at 166. Striking out, he struck out like 212 times. I mean, and he's swinging out of his heels every single pitch. Defensively, he's very good, but then you got a question of, do you replace the third base coach?
I know, that was, oh my God, that was the turning point of the game.
Yeah,
that was when all momentum and all hope as a Yankees fan for winning. And then the Sox had a similar instance a couple innings later, but it went in their favor. But Judge should have never rounded. Should have held up.
Would have been first and third, because Stanton would have went to second if they didn't throw home. So it would have been first and third. But some people said the reason why he sent them is because Gallo was coming up. Oh, so you don't want your number 4 batter coming up in that situation?
Yeah.
What does that tell you?
Yeah,
It tells
exactly.
you all you need to know. But I don't know if you're right. The Yankees led the major leagues in getting thrown out at home plate 20 times this year. Led the majors.
I didn't know that.
Led the majors, yeah. So is that because, third base coaches know what he's doing? They take too many chances, or they were just good plays, or whatever. Nevin, Phil Nevin was his name, coaching third. I mean, how hard is that? The guy's coming in third base. If he's not in the bag and the infielder has the ball, stop. That's all.
I know.
And you got and Judge, you got someone up about 10 feet.
I know. I saw the pitch I saw the throw coming in, and I'm like, there's not even a chance. You could put a high school third base coach there, and it's just basic baseball.
Right. Right.
An average person, you or I, could be third base coach, and you could tell that's not a situation where you bring him home because he's going to get thrown out.
And you got 4, 5, and 6 coming up.
Yeah.
You know, no matter what your lineup is, you should feel good with that. With the big guys coming. If I was the opposition, I would never ever pitch to Stanton. I'd pitch around him every time and take my chance with Gallo, or Torres or Gardner or whoever. I think Gardner was hitting 50 on 90, which is a joke. But and that was a big bone of contention for me with Boone. Is his lineups, his batting order was a joke. He was always changing all the time. You look at the Red Sox. They always have the core guys: Martinez, Devers, Bogarts, 3, 4, 5, and some resemblance of order depending on who's pitching. Then they'll put Hernandez up there, or the guy that plays for Hunter Renfroe in there. You know, whoever they have, they kind of keep the same core anyway. And the Yankees didn't do that. And then the game before that, Sunday game, when they needed to win to make the playoffs, he had Odor playing third. Odor hadn't played in like 3 weeks. I mean, how do you? I know DJ was hurt and whatnot, but don't you like Wade there? You know what I mean? Or put Urshela back at third and put Wade as short. I'd like that better than having Odor in there. Well, again, hadn't played in a couple weeks. You just can't sit in the bench for 2 weeks and get up there and expect to do anything.
I know.
I mean, and they both hit lefty, so it doesn't. That was no factor. But little things like that would just drive me nuts. But anyway, I think with the Yankees, they've got to. I think they're at a crossroads. They've got to make wholesale changes. They can't continue with, especially with how strong the Devil Rays are now. And they're tough. I mean, I think I could be mistaken. I think they led the major leagues in home runs and strikeouts, which is kind of weird. But they steal bases and they play great defense. And they got pitching like.
They're all around baseball. They're fun to watch.
Look what they lost from last year's team: Snell, Glasnow, and Charlie Morton. 3 great starts, and they're still won 100 games. That's a testament to their system and what they're doing. Now, last year they lost the World Series. This year they added Nelson Cruz and Wander Franco, so they're better than they were last year.
Who could be potentially Rookie of the Year?
Right. And Rosarina could be Rookie of the Year too, even though he played a lot last year, he didn't play enough games to qualify. Yeah. So they're not going anywhere.
No, they're definitely not.
They're not. Red Sox, and you got to look at the turnaround the Red Sox did from. They were last place the year before. Cora came in and just did a phenomenal job.
I know. I was just going to say, change in management.
Phenomenal.
Testament.
Yep. And he changed the clubhouse and good manager. And I think, to me, the biggest qualification or the most important thing as a manager is the communication. You know, what I would have done a lot of times is talk to my main guys, Judge and Stanton, and Meyer, about the batting order. What do you like? Where do you guys like to hit?
Yeah.
You know,
see what they
you mind leading off. You like playing this. I always thought that maybe if Gardner was a little bit better, you could lead off with Torres, Gardner 2, then go with Rizzo, Judge, Stanton, Gallo, whoever you got, and kind of lengthen the lineup. Because after you get past the top Yankees 3, I mean, on Tuesday's game, I think the bottom of the order from 3 to 9 was 1 for 20.
Terrible.
And I think the top of the order was 4 for 9, I think they were. So there you go. So as a pitcher, like, okay, I got by Judge now, I got by Stanton. I'm cruising here, you know. And I think that's so important. You don't have any, you know, the other night you had, like last night's game, the Dodger game, they had Bellinger batting 8th. I mean, no, he was only batting 165, 170 this year, that bad year, but he was an MVP 2 years ago. He's batting 8th.
Yeah, not too long ago.
Big difference in where you're on the order. And even David Cohn said it on a couple times, like in his mindset, he always knew who was ahead, a batter or two. So that would predicate how he would pitch to the guy he's pitching to. You know, so he would pitch accordingly. You know, who I come up next? What am I looking at? You know, do I hit first base open? I pitch around it. I'm not giving him anything to hit. You know, but that was the other night. The Red Sox actually pitched to Stanton. Though I was surprised, even though with Gallo on deck. Didn't matter, but yeah, they went right after him. And he saw 3 hits. He almost had 3 home runs, really.
I know.
So, did you ever hear John Sterling on the radio side?
Yeah, from time to time.
The first one that Stan hit, he called it out. He's like, "It's high, it's deep, it's out of here." He's like, "Oh, Gee, I think I missed that.
No, he's funny. He's got some
He's hilarious. Yeah,
wacky
he's
commentary
nuts.
and some of his stuff.
Yeah. So anyway, I guess probably enough Yankees for now before I get too worked up again. But in the offseason, I think they just got to, I would sign Rizzo. I would find a shortstop, and you got to find a center fielder. I think those three things. Everything else can kind of take care of themselves. But they're not, and I would change management. You need a different voice. You just do, you know. Boo's not an excitable guy. He's kind of mellow. He should get thrown out once in a while. Get him all fired up.
Show a little bit of passion, like you're kind of alluding to. You know, it's not like a best of series. You know, this was a wild card game, and it was stale.
Now you got the Mets. The Mets are a total mess. They don't have a GM. They don't have a coach. Rojas was funny. I watch the Mets once in a while, and there'd be a guy up at bat for the Mets, and he would do this. First of all, no one's looking at you. And what are you signaling? Hit a home run. I mean, what's wrong? I said, what's wrong with this guy? No one's even looking at him. The guy's up at bat, and he's this. Anyway, he was a terrible manager. I thought he was absolutely awful. Didn't know what he was doing. Line up, pitch and rotation. It was a debauchery. Even the Mets came out last night and were saying they need leadership, and there was no accountability in the clubhouse, and this and that. That's what happens. You put a guy that's never been a head coach or manager at any level, and you put him a head coach on a pro team. I mean, what do you expect's going to happen?
Yeah, they're going to burn.
Yeah. It's one thing if you got a guy that's a bench coach for a couple of years.
Yeah, you know, knows the system.
Knows the system, takes over. But they got a lot of decisions to make, too. They got Conforto's a free agent. What do you think about him? You like Conforto at all?
Not really. I don't really follow the Mets too often.
Okay.
Just being like, New York fan, I'm always like, Yankees, Giants, like the majors, like, but
well, it's funny because I'm watching the Cardinals and Dodgers last night, and I think I probably watched maybe 10 National League games all year, and that would be the Mets.
Yeah.
Nobody else.
Yeah.
But yeah, Conforto played his last game at Citi Field, and they gave him an ovation. He was kind of crying, so I kind of told you that he wasn't going to come back. He's gone. Baez is a free agent. You've got McNeil, you got J.D. Davis, you got Dom Smith. The only guys you got for sure are you got Lindor short, Alonso at first, and Nimmo in center. And you got, don't you know, Robinson Cano is back next year. So that should be interesting.
Yeah.
I would play him at third. You put him at third, Lindor at short, Baez at second, and Alonso first. That's a pretty good infield. Pretty infield. James McCann's an average catcher. Spent a lot of money on him. Not a big fan. He's very, very average. In the outfield, keep Nimmo in center, but you got to get some power out of your corners, left and right. I don't know what happened to McNeil. He came up as a rookie and was a great hitter. I think he had 330 or 340. And since then, he hasn't done much. So pitching-wise, they're loaded pitching-wise. I mean, they got DeGrom, Syndergaard, Walker, Stroman, Carlos Carrasco. Then they got Peterson and Rich Hill. They got 7 potential starters there. And the bullpen's loaded with Aaron Luke. You got Diaz. They've got Trevor May. They got Lugo and Gazillion. So Gazelman. So they got 13 good pitchers there, and then they've got to get some leadership in there. They got to get some coaches. That's the biggest thing. Then they can move forward. But so many amazing decisions are made in the off season that totally affect your regular season.
Yeah.
Night and day. So Red Sox, they're pretty much set. I don't know if they have Hernandez in center, Hunter Renfroe and right. And funny, Verdugo actually had a better year than Mookie Betts. Mookie Betts batted 265, 270. I think he had 23 home runs and 60 RBIs. And Verdugo had a lot better year than Mookie Betts did, even though Betts was hurt on and off. But anyway, what do you think of the National League? Any feelings on that? Who's going to win that?
I don't know. I mean, Dodgers look strong. I mean, it's going to be a cool series to see, San Francisco and Los Angeles, play, rekindling a little rivalry there.
It seems like they play each other all the time.
Yeah. I think they pretty much, I was watching today, I think they pretty much split the regular season matchups. I think the Dodgers were up by like 1 game or something like that.
Right.
But the Dodgers, I mean, when they're playing well, I mean, they had 106 wins, so they're good. But they kind of squeaked it out, to get in there.
Win 106 games and you have a 1-game playoff to get into the playoffs.
I know, it's crazy.
That was amazing. So
I know.
I don't know how you fix that, but there's a lot of pressure on that 1 game. I mean, they were lucky to win last night. But they played the Giants. Dodgers, I think, played 18 times this year, something like that, 19 times. And you got the Brewers and the Braves on the other side. So I like the Braves. I think the Braves actually had good defense. They hit the ball, and pitching's good, and it should be a good series. And the Brewers, can you name a player on the Brewers? I can't. Yeah.
I'm trying to think off the top of my head, but no.
I can't tell you one guy in the Brewers.
I know.
I really can't.
I know.
Well, you got Josh Hader, the relief pitcher, and you've got I think Corbin Burns is the pitcher. They've got it, but I can't tell you anybody else that plays. Who's their shortstop? You know what I mean? Who's their? Those teams you never even hear of. You never even anything about those guys.
Yeah.
Then the other side, in the American League, I think the Rays are going to be tough to beat for the simple fact that they were there last year.
Yep.
And you can't measure what it does to you to be there 1 year and come back the same thing next year. It's just not scary anymore. It's just not as intimidating and the pressure, and you kind of know what to expect. And
I think the level of confidence to yourself. And,
right. I think that's huge with them. I think they're going to destroy the Red Sox.
Yeah.
Hope so.
I hopefully.
I think they will.
Sorry, Red Sox fans.
Sale was I think Sale was 5 or 6-0 at the end of the year, and I think 3 of those wins were against the Orioles. So he hasn't really. I mean, it's kind of a false positive where he's not the old Chris Sale that he used to be. I think. Yeah. Valdi pitched well against the Yankees, but after that you got Pivetta and you've got E-Rod. And, I think their bullpen's a mess. Oh my God, they got Matt Barnes from Bethel.
UConn alum.
UConn alum was dynamite at the beginning of the year as a closer. Then all of a sudden he just fell off the end of the earth. He was terrible. Now he's almost like in mop-up duty.
Yeah.
And he was lights out at the beginning. It was really weird what happened to him. But so I think the Red Sox are in trouble. The Rays are hungry.
The Rays are going to be tough to beat, to be honest.
They're going to be tough to beat.
I think it might come down to Rays Dodgers.
Right, I agree.
We'll see, but anything can happen. But I think the Rays, if I were to bet on any team to make it to the World Series, I was thinking at least the Rays are going to make it there.
Yeah. One of the things was I read somewhere yesterday that the Giants, San Francisco Giants, are considered to have the best analytics department in the major leagues. And Gabe Kaplan, who was the manager, and he managed the Phillies, and he was a mess. And he went out there. I don't know how much he knows what he's doing, but I think the analytics part of it, whatever that means, has been a big part for the Giants. So, can you name any Giant players? I mean,
exactly. It's the same. It's the same type of concept.
Yeah. I mean, you got Crawford at shortstop. They had Buster Posey catches. They had Brandon Belt, but he got hurt. He was playing first. You got Yastrzemski. Carl Yastrzemski's grandson in the outfield.
Pretty cool.
They had what's the name from the Yankees for a while. What was the outfielder that the Yankees had that traded to him? Anyway, they got Flores, Wilbur Flores from the Mets is on that team. But anyway, so I agree with you. I think the Dodgers have too much pitching with Scherzer and the guys pitching tonight. Walker Buehler is pitching tonight. He's like 16-4. Then you got Urias, who's like 17-2. And they got a good team, but they lost Max Muncy though. Dodgers did for a while, so he might not be back till the end. But that hurts him a little bit at first base. But it should be interesting. Last night's game was Chris Taylor hit a walk-off 2-run homer with 2 outs in the ninth. Did you realize that in the playoffs there's no ghost runner now? Did you know that? Yeah, they're going regular baseball now for the playoffs. And I think, I would guess that there's going to be a DH in the National League next year.
I mean, that's what it's sounding like. It's sounding like it's going to be universal.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that affects baseball too. You know.
Right. Nobody wants to see a pitcher hit.
I know,
They
unless
really
it's Shahani.
And then look at the other side of the coin, where if you're a pitcher, and you pitch every 5 days, why don't you hit in the cage 4 days? You know what I mean? You help yourself out. You stay in the game longer if you can hit 6 innings. But they don't care. But so I think the DH comes back to the National League next year. So that would create more jobs for guys, obviously. Then you get a situation where like the Mets, Alonso says, I'm not a DH. He says, I want to play first base. So because they have him and Dom Smith. Dom Smith's better defensively than Alonso. But so J.D. Davis would be a good DH too, but he who knows him too. Anyway, so let's talk a little NBA. Kyrie Irving. What's wrong with this guy? You tell me, Alex. I need to know.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like it's oil and water wherever he goes, and it's not just this vaccination thing. It's it's everything. Players notoriously have been saying that he's a tough teammate. He's very ego-driven. He comes out with a new shoe for Nike, and he's bad-mouthing the designers on social media.
Yep.
It's almost like all the things that people are supposed to be coaching these pro athletes on how to present yourself as a public figure, he's just not listening to, or he's rebelling almost.
Remember was it last year? He was going around Barclays Center with incense, and he was just walking around before the game, before practice or something too.
I don't know. It's just odd. It's just
he's just off the rocker. He's off his rocker.
Yeah.
And his vaccination thing now. I don't want to get too political in this situation, but why would you not get vaccinated? Anyone?
I don't know. I mean, especially for the league, like for instance in New York, you have to. So it's like, okay, and I understand, and again, we won't get into this whole thing, but it's like, your alternative is then you're only available for away games.
Yeah. And you can't play in New York at all.
Or practice. And Steve Nash said he's not moving practices, so it's not like they're going to go to New Jersey.
Right.
So it's like, what are you going to do?
Right.
I don't know. It's a mess, but if they're going to theoretically move any of the pieces, you want to keep Harden and you want to keep Durant.
Right.
If out of my big three, if I had to get rid of one of them, it's no questions asked. It's going to be Kyrie.
I'd have no problem with Kyrie not playing at all. I think I actually believe they're better off with him not playing, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
They got Patty Mills from the Spurs, point guard. He's tough. And I don't know if you ever hear him talk. Very articulate, very smart, very nice guy. They've got him to fill the void. They don't need him. You don't need, it's almost having too many good players, in some respects. And you can have all the good players you want, but if they can't fit in together, what good does it do? And they got Aldridge back. They got Blake Griffin back. They got, who else they got? Nick Claxton's back, center. They got Joe Harris, sharpshooter. I mean, they've got all they need. A lot of times you can't have too many good. You can have too many good players, in my opinion.
They get Spencer Dinwiddie back too.
No,
he
went
got traded
to Indiana or somewhere.
Oh yeah.
Pacers or somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got rid of him. He was good though too. They got rid of a few of the guys they had. They still got Bruce Brown back, off 6'4", scrappy. They got everything. They don't need. Yeah, again, but you can't predict injuries, so you don't know.
Yeah, I would have said they were the favorite to win it. Last year, unfortunately, because it's another example of you get in, you bring in these big time players, which is obviously against you want people to get theoretically to get drafted and come up and build a franchise. But then they got hurt. You
can see how it's become a league of big threes, where now the Lakers have Davis, LeBron, and Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook's a kind of a misunderstood guy. He's a pretty articulate, smart guy too.
I like him. I mean, he plays hard all the time.
Yeah.
He's scrappy. He's
goes 100% all the time. He married his. I saw the other day. He read it. He married a girl from UCLA that played basketball for them. 6'1".
Oh wow.
Yeah. So he has 3 or 4 kids. But anyway, Yeah, so Kyrie, I would just like, wouldn't you love to say, if you're in that, just, God, we don't need you, you know. And it costs him
It
like,
would be
what?
nice.
How, I don't know, $350,000 each game he misses or something, I forget.
Yeah, it's roughly maybe 380, but
Something
I think
like
it's
that,
almost
yeah.
$400,000 a game.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, so
it's wild. But you know, the NBA will be interesting.
I predict that he gets the vaccination before the season starts.
He's gonna have to,
Yeah.
you know, because I don't
He can't
know.
be that dumb. I mean, he just can't be.
And I just don't see a team keeping a play. I know they're trying to be nice and like, you
Yeah.
know, cater to him, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's like, you know, they're a business at the end of
Yeah.
the day, and they're
Yeah.
trying to compete. And if you don't have your, you know, starting point guard
Yeah.
playing half the games or even practicing, like, how does that happen?
If I'm Steve Nash, I take Harden and I take Durant in the office. Think, what do you guys think? I'm going to get rid of this guy. And if Durant says no way, you can't really. But they say, yeah, I mean, you know, behind closed doors, don't tell Kyrie, but we're on board with that. And then boom, get rid of him.
Yeah. No, I agree.
In a perfect world, that's what it would be. Anyway, so NBA's coming up. That starts next week, the regular season games. NBA is fun. It's fun to watch, but the seasons are so long that
Yeah.
some of the games are so meaningless. The guys just don't care. I mean,
Yeah.
and they're all gearing up for the playoffs now, load management and all sort of stuff.
And we were just talking about it with baseball, having guys take a day off. But
you know,
yeah, that's
you know, you got a couple of kids and you save up and you're going to go see, you know, somebody, LeBron play in New York.
Exactly.
And he's sitting out that day. I mean, that's heartbreaking, you know.
I know.
But then you get a guy like LeBron. LeBron's pretty good though, as far as like playing all the time. Some
He
guys are
is.
good like
He's
that.
even talked about stuff like that, what you just
Yeah.
said too, about making
Yeah.
sure he's playing. You know.
Yeah.
But I
Might
know
be
they
the only
do a
time
lot.
Someone sees him. Yeah.
But they do a lot with. I know they do that all the time with Kawhi.
Yeah.
You know, Kwai Leonard.
What do you think about him?
I mean, I like him as a player. I
Yeah.
think he's solid, and
Yeah.
he's just never, you know, he's never outspoken. He's always
Yeah.
just, you know, focus on basketball. You know, do what you got to do.
I liked him until I saw last year in the playoffs when he was hurt. He's up in the stands
Yeah.
watching him with his wife and kids. Doesn't get on the bench.
Yeah, in that aspect,
You know,
yeah. Suit up.
Put a sweatsuit on in the bench. Help the guys. I don't. Why would you want to sit up in the stands with your wife and kids during a playoff game? I didn't understand any of that.
I don't know.
All that says is that you're selfish to me. I don't know how good of a teammate he is, though. A great player, though, no question. But you know, the problem is with almost any level of basketball is obviously there's only one ball. So if you give Joe Smith 25 shots a game, he probably could average 20 points a game. Because they all could score at some level of basketball in their career, and it's just a matter of who's getting the proper shots and when they're getting taken. You know, and so the NBA, you know, the favorites. I think the Nets are the favorites, and then the Lakers right behind them. But again, anything can happen. I think injuries, more than any other sport, play a most important role in the NBA.
Yeah, and I mean, if anyone gets injured on the Nets or if anyone gets injured on the Lakers, then it's going to, you know, open the door for what happened last year with
Yeah.
the Bucks and the Suns.
Yeah. As far as load management, I don't understand as a coach. When you're blowing somebody out, take your guys out of the game.
Yeah.
The problem is they let the second, third string guys play. A lot of them have incentives or contracts, and if they play well, you know, they're going to want to play more, and then that could be a problem down the road. But I would just, you know, you're beating the heck out of somebody, then just pull them out. Eventually,
Yeah,
you know.
no, I agree. And then there's your rest right there.
There's your rest right there. Exactly right. College football is interesting. I love Alabama. I love what they do. I love Saban. I love the way they approach the game. You have Alabama and you have Georgia. Then you have everybody else. So we got five left. Yeah. So Georgia's defense is unbelievable. I think they're averaging 4 points a game, allowing 4 points a game in college football. They haven't played anybody that great yet, but their defense is phenomenal. Alabama's defense is phenomenal. Bryce Young is great for the Crimson Tide. He's only a sophomore. Interesting thing about this the college benefits now, where you can get sponsorship from products. One of the problems that I saw DJ, I can't pronounce his last name, that's quarterback for the Clemson Tigers, but he signed $1 million contract before the year started. and he has played absolutely terrible in 4 games. I saw him come into the game 2 weeks ago. He looked like a pimp. He had the suit on and the bling and stuff.
Flashy.
Yeah, and you say to yourself, this is a college kid?
I know.
How do you keep that in perspective where you're getting paid $1 million and your teammates are just on scholarship or whatever? And they're going to play for you. And then if you don't play well, I think that's a major issue, but it doesn't affect that many guys.
Exactly.
So, like they got E051, who's a top player in the country, went to UConn this year. I think she's Dr. Pepper, I think, picked her up as a sponsor. So, and again, she's making $500,000.
Yeah,
the
girls will be making money
girls
too.
are a little different though because they don't make the money the NBA guys do eventually. So I have no problem with that. But yeah, basic college football, you got Alabama, Georgia, and everybody else. Oklahoma's down. Ohio State looks to be a little down. Notre Dame, Florida State, Oregon. You said they all got losses. So I think that's going to be up in the air. They haven't gone to I like to see them go to like 18 playoff. Would you or no?
Yeah, I mean the 4 games isn't really doing it for me.
Yeah.
It's just kind of too crunched.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you're playing, you know, it's not like, you know, the NBA or baseball, and I know football's more taxing, but it's, you know, I don't know what the viewership ratings are when they went to the playoff structure, but I'm sure it increased. Yeah. It just makes, like, a expanded playoff just makes it more exciting.
And that would just take, you know, you play 1 versus 8 or whatever, that would just take the place of a bowl game. Yeah, I don't see any problem with it. There's no way number 8 is number 1, but still, I mean, it's another game. Yeah. But then, I don't know. I think that's coming down the road at some point, but not right now. NFC football. A lot of people are picking Giants to beat the Cowboys this week. What do you think?
I don't know. I mean, they got a little bit of confidence after that win last week, but, you know, the Cowboys are good.
I'd say they're 5 plays away from being undefeated.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of close games. So, I mean, you know, obviously I'm pulling for the Giants. I'm a Giants fan, a New York fan. But I think it's going to be tight. I know, you know, Cowboys are favored, so I don't know. We'll see. But it was a big moral victory last week.
I tell you, Daniel Jones played well last 3 games.
You have over 400 passing yards.
Yeah. He looks good. You know, if he doesn't turn the ball over, he's tough. He made some good decisions. I hate to say it, but Jason Garrett called a pretty good game the other day. Pains me to say that. They look pretty good, and I think I don't know if the receivers are coming back. Slayton.
He should be back.
Is he back?
Somewhat soon.
And the other guy was missing too, another receiver. He still got Galladay, and he still got. He finally used Tony a little bit, played well. And I think Saquon Barkley is getting better and better every week. He looked much better last week. They're all picking the Giants upset the Cowboys in Dallas. So I think, my opinion, the best team in the NFL are the Rams, Bucks, and Bills. I would say those 3. Kansas City does nothing for me. Offensively, they're fantastic, but their defense is terrible. They can't stop a nosebleed. They, you know, and you generally don't win a Super Bowl without at least a decent defense. In upper echelon or top half defense, their defense is just horrendous. I mean, I think they haven't won a game by more than 6 or 8 points in the last 15 games or something like that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, they just don't beat anybody good, you know, because their defense just gives everybody up. How about the Bucks and the Pats this past Sunday? That was pretty cool.
It was pretty cool. It was much closer than I thought. I had a buddy who went to the game, and, you know, it was exciting. I was checking the score, like, you know, turning it on, turning it off, and I was like, you know, I was surprised. You know, there's all the drama behind it.
What's funny, it was all the action, I think 95%, all the action in Vegas was on the Bucks. Yeah. So, and the Pats covered. So, they lost a lot of money. You see a lot of that. When a public all likes one certain team, it almost always goes the other way. You know, and in the NFL, any week somebody can beat anybody. Yeah. You can't go from week to week. It doesn't work that way. How about this Urban Meyer thing? Did you see all that? Yeah. I don't know. It's just a terrible look. You know, very accomplished college coach, but, you know, you're 0-4 right now with Jacksonville. You're trying to get your players, you know, trust, and then you have this video come out. He made a couple bad decisions. The first decision he made was he brought that strength coach that had issues, and he lasted 2 days, and then they had he brought in Tim Tebow, which was a joke, lasted about a week. And then this thing, a lot of players are saying that you generally, after a game on a plane ride back, the coaches will watch the game again, on a monitor, and then go over it the next day, and then give him a day off. So, Myers didn't even fly back because he wanted to spend time with his grandkids, and he's in his own restaurant.
Yep.
And, his girl's dancing on him. But so it's a tough situation. You put yourself in those situations, and it's hard. It's hard to unsee that.
It's tough, and I mean, it's different too because they're not 4-0.
Yeah. How about Big Ben? He looks terrible in Pittsburgh, doesn't he?
I know. I don't know. I mean, he's obviously at the tail end of his career.
Got old quick, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's getting old quick, but I mean, he's had a pretty solid career overall, and he's
Yeah, it's tough. No father time. They say father time's undefeated, man. You just can't.
Yeah,
just
unless
can't
you're
keep
Brady.
up. He looks old.
Yeah.
So, well, Alex, you did a great job today. Thank you for filling in.
Thanks for having me.
It was good. We made the hour, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.